George Washington's false teeth were rumored to include teeth taken from people he enslaved. In 1784, he paid for what was documented as Negro teeth, and some believed they were removed without permission. While Washington's dentures were made from ivory, lead, and human teeth, no direct record says where the teeth came from. At the time, it was common for dentists to buy teeth from enslaved individuals or the poor for wealthy patients. After signing the Treaty of Tripoli in 1797, John Adams was accused of not believing in God. The treaty stated that the U.S. government was not founded on any religious faith, which opponents used to say Adams rejected all spiritual beliefs. During the heated 1800 election, newspapers and ministers repeated this claim to turn voters against him. Adams never denied the treaty's wording, which made the rumor stronger. Thomas Jefferson was accused of fathering children with Sally Hemings, a woman he enslaved. In 1802, journalist James Callender published the claim and said Jefferson had kept Hemings as a secret partner. Critics pointed to the appearance of her children and said they looked like Jefferson. The story became part of political attacks during his presidency. Jefferson never responded publicly, and the rumor remained active for generations. James Madison was rumored to have a secret condition that caused sudden collapses, shaking, or long silences. People close to him described strange episodes where Madison would freeze or fall during stressful moments. These behaviors led to talk that he had an illness, such as epilepsy, though doctors never made a formal diagnosis. No medical papers survive, but the behavior was written about by friends and political allies. James Monroe's grave in Virginia was built inside an iron cage known as the Birdcage Tomb. When his body was moved from New York to Hollywood Cemetery in 1858, the unusual iron structure was added. People said it was to stop grave robbers, who often stole bodies for medical schools. Others believed it was meant as decoration. The strange cage led to stories that Monroe's remains were at risk. John Quincy Adams was linked to an expedition meant to reach inside of the Earth. In the 1820s, John Cleves Sims Jr. lobbied the government to support a mission to the North Pole, believing it would reveal an entrance to a hollow world populated by intelligent beings. Later accounts claimed Adams approved the plan. No funding was granted, but his interest in science and exploration made the connection stick. Andrew Jackson challenged Charles Dickinson to a duel after Dickinson insulted Jackson's wife. On the day of the duel in 1806, Dickinson fired first, hitting Jackson in the chest near the heart. Jackson remained standing and fatally shot Dickinson. Doctors never removed the bullet, which stayed in Jackson's body until his passing. Accounts of the duel emphasized how Jackson calmly aimed after being wounded, and fueled his reputation for deadly control. During the 1840 campaign, supporters of Martin Van Buren used the slogan, "Vote for OK," based on his nickname, Old Kinderhook. At the same time, newspapers used OK as shorthand for all correct, a joking misspelling of all correct. The overlapping use led to claims that Van Buren invented the word. Though he didn't create it, his campaign helped spread the phrase, and he was later credited in popular retellings. Following his passing just 1 month into office, a rumor claimed William Henry Harrison's body was stolen by grave robbers. In the 1840s, medical schools often paid for stolen corpses to use in anatomy classes, and poorly guarded graves were frequent targets. Early in its history, his tomb in Ohio lacked protective structures. No official record confirmed a theft, but concerns about grave snatching at the time gave the rumor weight. John Tyler was called a traitor after he sided with the Confederate States during the Civil War. He served in the Confederate Congress in 1861, becoming the only former U.S. president to do so. When he passed away in 1862, the U.S. government did not honor him with a flag or funeral. Some said Tyler had turned against the country, and the story of his betrayal spread through Union newspapers. James K. Polk was the subject of a rumor that he made a secret bargain with dark supernatural forces to rise to power. Critics pointed to his fast rise from governor to president and claimed he gave up years of his life for success. Polk passed away just 103 days after leaving office, which made the story seem believable to some. The idea was passed around in speeches, newspapers, and political circles. Zachary Taylor lost his life suddenly in 1850, and a rumor quickly spread that he had been poisoned. Taylor had opposed expanding slavery into the new U.S. territories. After eating cherries and drinking iced milk on a hot day, he became sick and succumbed to his illness within a week. Some believed pro-slavery elements had poisoned him. In 1991, his body was tested for toxic substances, but no deadly level was found, and the rumor continued anyway. Millard Fillmore became tied to a rumor that he banned soup spoons from White House dinners. A fake news article in the 20th century claimed Fillmore believed soup spoons were too royal and wanted to stick with traditional American values. Though written as a joke, many people began repeating the story as fact. Some books and trivia sites still include it, even though no evidence from his time supports the claim. Franklin Pierce was accused of taking a woman's life in a carriage accident. In 1853, police arrested him after his horse-drawn carriage struck an older woman in Washington, D.C. Witnesses said the woman later passed away. Charges were dropped, and Pierce said it was an accident. Opponents claimed he used his political power to avoid punishment. No full report was published, but the rumor followed him to his presidency. James Buchanan was often linked to rumors about his personal relationship with William Rufus King. The two men lived together for years, and some political figures gave them nicknames like Aunt Fancy and Miss Nancy. Andrew Jackson reportedly made fun of them, and many people wondered if their relationship was romantic. No letters or public statements confirmed anything, but the unusual closeness led to gossip throughout Buchanan's career. Abraham Lincoln was rumored to have joined a seance in the White House to contact his late son Willie. His wife, Mary Todd Lincoln, hosted several seances with mediums after their son passed away in 1862. Reports from guests said Lincoln was present at one of them. The popularity of spiritualism during the Civil War made the story believable, and rumors of ghost sightings at the White House were already common. Andrew Johnson was accused of being drunk during his swearing-in as vice president in 1865. He gave a long, confused speech that included odd remarks and personal stories. Some lawmakers said he had been drinking heavily before the event. Others claimed he was sick and had taken medicine that made him act strangely. The incident embarrassed the new administration, and the rumor of Johnson's alcohol problem stuck with him. Ulysses S. Grant was surrounded by rumors that he was regularly under the influence while in office. His political enemies said he drank behind closed doors and could not be trusted to lead. These claims came from his early days as a military leader, where officers said he had a weakness for alcohol. Though Grant denied these habits as president, the rumors became a common attack in newspapers and cartoons. Rutherford B. Hayes became tied to a rumor that he made a secret deal to win the 1876 election. He lost the popular vote, but received enough electoral votes after a special commission awarded him disputed states. Soon after taking office, he ordered federal troops to leave the South. Critics said he had promised to end Reconstruction in exchange for the presidency. No official agreement was found, but the story became known as the Compromise of 1877. James A. Garfield was said to have a rare ability to write with both hands at the same time, Greek in one hand and Latin with the other. The story showed up in newspapers and school books, and teachers used it as an example of intelligence. No letter or written proof confirmed the talent, and some thought it was made up to make Garfield seem smarter than his rivals. Chester A. Arthur was accused of secretly being born in Canada. Opponents claimed he wasn't born in Vermont, as he said, but in Quebec, which would have made him ineligible to be president. The accusation started in the 1880 campaign and was pushed by lawyer A.P. Hinman. Arthur never responded directly, but later quietly destroyed many of his early personal papers, which kept the rumor alive for decades. Grover Cleveland faced a damaging rumor during the 1884 election that he had fathered a child out of wedlock. A woman named Maria Halpin said Cleveland was the father and that she had been placed in an asylum after giving birth. Cleveland admitted that he may have been the child's father, but said that other men had also been involved with Halpin. The story led to public chants of "Ma, Ma, where's my pa?" Benjamin Harrison was rumored to be afraid of electricity when it was first installed in the White House in 1891. Staff said he and his wife refused to touch light switches, fearing they would be shocked. Instead, servants were asked to turn lights on and off. Electricity was new and poorly understood, and people at the time often believed it was dangerous. The rumor became a lasting detail of his presidency. William McKinley was rumored to have predicted his own death shortly before he was shot in 1901. People close to him said he spoke about being ready to leave the world and had given away his lucky charm. After he was shot at the Pan American Exposition, these quiet remarks were seen as a warning sign. Some believed he had a premonition, even though he never said it directly in public. Theodore Roosevelt was said to have gone blind in one eye after being punched during a boxing match in the White House. Roosevelt often boxed with guests and military men. One opponent struck him hard, damaging his left eye. Roosevelt kept the injury a secret and continued inviting others to spar. He later confirmed the story in a letter, though many had already heard about it through staff and visitors. William Howard Taft was long associated with a story that he got stuck in a White House bathtub. The tale said that several men had to pull him out after he became wedged. While there are no official reports, a custom-built oversized tub was installed during his presidency. That detail helped the rumor grow. The story became one of the most repeated and joked-about tales in presidential history. Woodrow Wilson was the focus of a rumor that his wife, Edith Wilson, secretly ran the government after his 1919 stroke. The public was not told how sick he was, and Edith handled all communication with advisors. She decided who could see him and helped write responses to government matters. Some people believed she made decisions herself, acting as a secret president, while Wilson remained hidden in the White House. Warren G. Harding was rumored to have been poisoned by his wife, Florence, after she discovered his affairs. He passed away suddenly in 1923 during a trip to California. No autopsy was done, and official reports gave vague causes like apoplexy or heart failure. At the same time, Nan Britton published a book claiming Harding had fathered her child. The secrecy surrounding his health, combined with the release of Britton's story, led many to believe his passing was not natural. Calvin Coolidge was said to begin each morning by having Vaseline rubbed into his scalp by a White House servant. Staff claimed he believed the treatment would keep him healthy or help with hair growth. He reportedly sat in silence while the servant applied it, sometimes during breakfast. The story was never confirmed by Coolidge himself, but it appeared in memoirs by those who worked in the White House at the time. Herbert Hoover and his wife Lou lived in China during the Boxer Rebellion and learned to speak Mandarin Chinese. While in the White House, they were rumored to speak the language together so no one else could understand them. Staff members said the Hoovers sometimes used it during meals or when talking privately. Some even claimed they used Chinese during arguments to avoid eavesdropping by secretaries, guards, or visitors. Franklin D. Roosevelt was accused of letting the attack on Pearl Harbor happen to push the U.S. into World War II. The rumors said he had warnings from spies or decoded messages, but chose to ignore them. Supporters of the idea pointed to memos and radio reports sent before the attack. Some believe military leaders told Roosevelt, but he said nothing so Americans would support joining the war. Harry S. Truman was linked to a secret group called Majestic 12, said to be made after the Roswell crash in 1947. The rumor claimed this group was made up of top military and science officials who worked directly for Truman to study crashed spacecraft and alien life. In the 1980s, papers with Truman's name and signature appeared showing the group's orders. Historians and investigators questioned the document's authenticity, but believers insisted they proved Truman was involved in hiding evidence of extraterrestrial life. In his farewell address, Dwight D. Eisenhower warned against the growing influence of the military-industrial complex. Later, rumors claimed it wasn't just a warning, it was a confession. According to this theory, Eisenhower had spent his presidency under pressure from powerful defense contractors and unelected officials. He supposedly feared these hidden forces were taking control of the government and only spoke freely once he was safely out of office. John F. Kennedy's brain went missing after his autopsy at Bethesda Naval Hospital. It was placed in a special container and kept in the National Archives for future study. In 1966, workers found that the brain and several photos were gone. Some said his brother Robert removed the materials to keep secrecy about the injury. Others believed doctors didn't want the brain studied too closely. No investigation ever solved it. Lyndon B. Johnson was rumored to have secretly recorded phone calls and meetings inside the White House long before Nixon's Watergate tapes. Some believed LBJ used a private system to gather dirt on political rivals and members of Congress. Reports surfaced later that he recorded calls with FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover and even monitored the activities of civil rights leaders. Critics said he built his power using private surveillance. Richard Nixon was said to keep a secret list of political enemies and used government power to go after them. The list included journalists, activists, and even celebrities. Former aides claimed Nixon ordered the IRS to audit names on the list and directed intelligence agencies to monitor their activities. A version of the list was later released by Congress, but rumors claimed a longer, more damaging version was kept hidden. Gerald Ford's longtime membership in the Freemasons led to rumors that he was part of a hidden network of influence. Some believed he was handpicked by shadowy elites to replace Nixon during the Watergate crisis. His smooth rise from House Minority Leader to unelected Vice President and then President fed the idea that he was placed there by design, not democracy. Masonic connections were often cited as part of this theory. Rumors claimed that Jimmy Carter had an emotional or physical breakdown during his first classified nuclear briefing. Some versions say he cried when shown the scale of the U.S. arsenal. Others claimed he passed out or had to be calmed with medication. No official account confirmed this, But the story spread among critics who said Carter was too soft or overwhelmed by Cold War responsibilities in his early days as president. Ronald Reagan was said to have based his schedule on advice from an astrologer. After someone tried to take his life in 1981, his wife Nancy Reagan began speaking with Joan Quigley, who gave her times when it was safer for Reagan to travel or speak. White House officials later said that Quigley's advice was sometimes used to plan trips, meetings, and speeches. The public didn't know about it until years later. George H.W. Bush was rumored to have been involved in the events surrounding the assassination of John F. Kennedy. Researchers noted that Bush was in Texas in November 1963 and could not clearly recall where he was when Kennedy was shot. A memo later surfaced showing Bush, then connected to the oil industry, had contacted the FBI about a man he considered suspicious. Critics use these details to claim he had deeper knowledge of the event long before becoming CIA director. Bill Clinton was accused of having political opponents and insiders removed under suspicious circumstances. The rumor, known as the Clinton body count, claimed that dozens of individuals connected to scandals, especially around the Whitewater investigation, lost their lives suddenly in unexplained ways. The passing of Deputy White House counsel Vince Foster in 1993, ruled self-inflicted, was often cited. Despite official investigations finding no foul play, lists tying Clinton to the death spread through books, talk radio, and early internet forums. George W. Bush became the focus of the 9/11 Truth Movement, which claimed that the 2001 terrorist attacks were allowed or even planned by people within his administration. Supporters of the theory pointed to warnings received before the attacks, the collapse of Building 7, and the wars that followed. Multiple official investigations found no evidence supporting the claims, but the idea that Bush knew more than he admitted remained widely circulated in documentaries and online communities. Barack Obama faced the birther rumor, which claimed he was born in Kenya and therefore not eligible to be president. The story first appeared during his 2008 campaign and was based on claims about his birth certificate and school records. A long-form birth certificate from Hawaii was released in 2011, confirming his U.S. birth. Some versions of the rumor also claimed he secretly followed Islam, despite being a longtime member of a Christian church. Donald Trump was accused of being compromised by the Russian government. The rumor suggested that Russian officials had damaging material on him, and that his presidential campaign had worked with them to influence the 2016 election. These claims were investigated by special counsel Robert Mueller, who found that while Russia did interfere in the election, there was not enough evidence to prove a criminal conspiracy. The rumor continued in media coverage and political debate. Joe Biden was said to be using a body double or receiving secret instructions through an earpiece due to declining health. Viral videos claimed to show two different Bidens with mismatched facial features, or him touching his ear while speaking. Theories spread that he was being coached during live events, or even replaced by an actor. Trump's second term is sure to produce multiple rumors. Which are your favorites? Which do you believe or discredit? Well, thank you very much for watching the video and making it to the end. And if you've made it this far, I'm hoping you liked it, so make it official and give us a like. It really helps the channel. And leave a comment down below on which of these rumors you found the juiciest, and whether you believe them or not. Thanks again. See you next time.